Caring Family. It's Pam Witt for Motivate Moms. This month, I want to talk about going back to school and what those safety guidelines are going to really look like when the kids get back in the building. But before I get started, I want to give a special congratulations to Kristen Bond and all of the National Junior Honor Society students who were inducted. I'm so proud of you guys. I hope that you carry that on, this excellence in service. Carry this on into your respective high schools. Your names will be in the books forever. So proud of you all. So if you guys remember, a couple of videos back, we talked about social emotional learning. In that piece, we talked about teaching our kids how to make decisions and understanding the consequences and ramifications that go along with the decisions that they're making. So you can see that video in the library on the YouTube channel. But today I bring that up because this is one of the most important situations where your children will use this technique, this new skill they have of making decisions. And that's when they're in school with these safety guidelines. Hand washing. Certainly, they're going to be washing their hands 9,000 times a day. However, teachers may have hand sanitizer in the room. Your child may have hand sanitizer in their book bags or in their little purses and things like that. I do want you guys to consider that kids may try to use, I gotta go wash my hands, as an excuse to get out of the class, go play in the bathroom or whatever. That's probably not going to happen. It is not going to happen. It is the safety of these children and the safety for our staff that this cannot happen. So there's probably not going to be a lot of, running back and forth to the bathroom as in previous, school time before. So that's something to consider and something to talk to your kid about, because I can recall many situations where, kid calls mom, she wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. This is not going to be that type of atmosphere. So you really have to teach your child to use their best decision-making skills in deciding whether they need to go to the bathroom or not. Students will have a lot of time, I'm sure, to get to the bathroom, and they need to make the most of that time. So hand washing is going to be crucial in keeping the schools open once they do open, which is the goal of everybody. I think the parents want the kids in schools just as much as the teachers and administrators do. So we have to work together to make sure that this is happening. And the most important thing is going to be making sure your child understands these rules and follows these rules. Social distancing. There may be a lot less students in your child's classroom. They may meet on different days. The desks are going to be further apart. They're all going to be probably facing in one direction, not little circles or little squares or in teams like we would have normally seen before. So that's something to consider as well. The classroom is going to look a whole lot different to the kids. Although I think they're just going to be so excited to be in a room with each other that that's going to be okay. So, but it does bear speaking with them about what that classroom is going to look like. And this turning around and talking to your friends and passing things between each other, that's not going to be tolerated because of COVID. Not because your kid is bad, not because the teacher is mean, or any other reason. Just because of COVID and the interest in protecting all the people in the building. Social distancing is also going to be important when it comes to outside play. The children probably will go outside, but it will probably look a lot different than it did before, playing different types of games or having just different kind of outside activity in general. And I'm sure staff is going to get really creative with how kids can enjoy themselves outside of the classroom on their break time. Social distancing is going to look like arm's length away from everybody, around you, more than likely. I'm sure the school will ensure that there's a full list of guidelines and that they are understood before families come back to school. but generally, basically the CDC is saying arm's length. They actually shortened it. I think it's 3 feet now. But this is something that you need to be sure that you know what these rules are and make sure that your child understands these rules as well. A benefit of social distancing, and I'm sure there's a few parents who will appreciate this, but one of the benefits to social distancing is it keeps down a whole lot of mess. It can help prevent physical bullying. Now, cyberbullying is another thing. Parents need to be on top of children's electronic devices and social media accounts and game accounts and things like that. But physical bullying can be greatly limited and even extinct with social distancing. I think it's something that the school is going to keep forever. And I think it's a great idea, to not have the kids all on each other's neck just because they're friends. It's unnecessary. So social distancing has an added benefit in the prevention of bullying, and hopefully we will see that diminish greatly for those families that were dealing with issues like that prior to COVID. Food safety. There's probably not going to be a lot of people in the lunchroom anymore. I would assume that children are going to, some percentage of the students are going to be eating lunch in their classrooms. School District 132 has beautiful facilities, and there is opportunity to social distance at lunch, but we'll see what the plan looks like as school opening starts to unfold. But prepare your children for a different lunch experience. And there will be no sharing food. There will be no passing, switching milks and all these kind of things. There will definitely not be any splashing and throwing and that type of thing. I believe that these are things that will have your child sent straight home without haste back to e-learning, back to distance learning. I think it's important for parents to remember that to send your child back home to do distance learning and e-learning is probably going to be the most effective form of punishment for bad behavior for students. Ergo, that is an effective form of punishment for you, the parent, because as much as you want to get back to a normal school setting, if your child does not adhere and understand the safety guidelines, guess what? You might get knocked back to square one. So there is no room for error in following these guidelines. A couple of bad moves can shut the entire district right back down. And so it's crucial that staff and administrators minimize and eliminate any disruptions to those guidelines. It is crucial for everybody's safety and for you to be able to send them kids to school around their professional educators, because we were not that. So food safety is going to be really important. And again, it's important to tell your kids to look at lunch differently than they have. I would take it as a parent as an opportunity to bag lunch it. I was never a big fan of school lunch. So I would prefer to, make a sandwich and a juice or something like that. I'm not a Lunchable fan. It's like, bleh. But a good healthy lunch for the kids to take with them, especially if you find out that your class or your student is eating inside the classroom. A note to that is just to be mindful not to send foods that are very loud. Every nationality, every ethnicity has some dish or some food that will light a room up. So try not to send those things. When you're thinking about doing that make sure your kids understand that they are responsible for their own behavior. Okay, you will probably be at work and or at home working. A lot of us I'm still at home working. A lot of us are not going to be able to just, your kids at school not following guidelines, and then boom, they get sent home and you're downtown or, somewhere else. So very, very important that you make sure that they understand these guidelines. If I was the administrator of the school or board member, that would be my first response to a kid that's not following the guidelines, is to send them back home to e-learning. So technically, you're not being suspended. You're not being pushed away from your education. But if you don't follow the guidelines, you have to go get that education at home like we were doing before. And it's just something that's really, really important for parents to remember, is to make sure that your children understand these guidelines. And this, again, it falls into teaching them how to make the right decisions. There's always going to be children who, are not following the rules per se. Your kid can't follow behind that kid. Your kid has to remember, hey, I don't want to do e-learning. I want to be in school. I want to see my teachers. I think all the kids miss their teachers. They miss each other. They miss being in the building. And I would hate for it to be ruined because a kid threw a sandwich or a carton of milk or pushed another kid when they're supposed to be social distancing anyway. And just little things that kids do that can upset the whole upstart to school starting back again. So with that, I want you guys to think about all of the guidelines. The school is going to make sure that they let you know what those guidelines are going to be, and sit down with your child and talk with them about the decisions they're going to have to make to stay inside these guidelines and the consequences and ramifications that will happen if they don't. And I think it will probably be the most depressing thing in the world for a kid to have to come back to e-learning after walking in the building and seeing all their friends. So let's work with our school board. Let's work with our administrators, and especially with our staff, in trying to keep everybody safe. I also do understand that COVID may not have been as detrimental to the middle school population. However, what is most important, other than your own child's health, is the health of the staff of the school. They are not young. And those staff members can be greatly and profoundly affected by the behavior of your children and bringing COVID into the building in any type of way. So I think it's just so very important that we all get on the same exact page so that we can open our schools back up with confidence and safety and fun, and go back to as much of a normal academic environment as we possibly can. I'll see you guys next month. Be safe. Talk to your kids. Watch this video with them and see what they have to say. How do they feel about lunch? How do they feel about sitting in the classroom? What are they going to do for recess? Maybe they can come up with some great social distancing games and ideas to share with the staff. Talk, talk, talk. I'll see you guys next month. And happy Easter.